Dare to Crave is the third LP from Cravity and their 12th to date. I enjoyed Cravity's last Korean EP, Ever Showing. It didn't blow me away, but it was nice, especially that summery vibe that often comes up throughout Dare to Crave. I found Cravity sits much better in my ears than other modern boy groups, and that cover art was certainly something. Just a big, cracked red egg. That's to say, I was quite interested in giving this album a shot. The album starts with On My Way. I don't hate it, but it's just kind of there. Nothing stood out to me, which is disappointing for an opening track of a 12-song album. But, as what is effectively an intro, it just does an okay job at setting the tone. I was surprised when I checked Album of the Year and saw how high the ratings and reviews were for this. What's interesting is they mentioned the B-sides being the standouts rather than the main tracks, which, in retrospect, I think I have to agree with. Swish follows a similar pattern. It doesn't present itself as a standout release, but it's equally as pleasant as everything else, something that slowly becomes a running theme throughout the album. I think this highlights a bigger issue in K-pop, where when groups release longer albums or LPs, most tend to lack standout hits. Nothing here really jumps out as a potential Song of the Year contender. This becomes even more obvious when you compare Cravity to their label mates like IVE, Kiki and Monster X. Those groups have no problem creating massive presence and staying power with their releases, whereas Cravity struggles to make that same impact, especially here on Dare to Crave. Set That Go was the first song that caught my attention, with that guitar processing after the chorus. But, like so many moments on this album, Cravity doesn't fully develop this interesting element into something more substantial. As a title track, it's surprisingly lacking in that gripping quality that their label mates consistently deliver. Rendez-vous opens with a guitar that immediately reminded me of Low Phase from the start. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but creates this sweet little moment before transitioning into a playful, bubbly rap pop track. Again, nothing particularly ambitious here, but it's hard to deny how palatable everything continues to be. That's the thing, most of these songs don't develop beyond their basic structures. While pop songs don't necessarily need complex sonic narratives, some more diverse arrangements would have been nice. Everything starts to sound awkwardly similar after a while, which, while helping with cohesiveness, would make for an exhausting listen if Dare to Crave wasn't so well produced, which is the real tragedy of Dare to Crave, and so many recent albums. You get these little glimpses of potential, whether it's due to the insane turnaround times producers face, or the fear that experimental ideas won't get approved. Unless you're specifically seeking out Cravity, the instrumental foundations here rarely rise above surface level. They're designed to pass, not excel. Paranoia demonstrates this perfectly. At least it separates itself from the pack with this prowling, stalking energy, but it never reaches a satisfying conclusion. I'm left either oblivious as it pulls wool over my eyes, or disappointed that a good idea was left to a single bar or two. The subunit tracks toward the end, Straight Up to Heaven, Stadium and Marionette, don't add much. Straight Up to Heaven joins the ranks of the album's more basic songs, while Stadium manages to capture a fun, bouncy vibe. Marionette is easily the most interesting of the three with its ethereal dark atmosphere. Underdog, quite fittingly named, follows the album's pattern of starting with something intriguing before retreating to safety. While probably my favourite track here, I still can't help feeling disappointed by how unwilling they are to step outside their comfort zone. Click Flash Pop combines some great compositions and arrangements into a pristine final mix, but suffers from a chorus that gets tired quickly. The rest of the track remains fun, if ultimately otherwise unremarkable. Love Me Again and Wish Upon a Star fall into the same camp as many other tracks so far, so I'll avoid repeating myself. Dare to Crave is unfortunately just another radio-friendly, run-of-the-mill release. I wish they were doing something more interesting because they have the vocal talent for it. The lack of any real attempt to stand out is only saved by how well made everything is. But that doesn't change how overwhelmingly safe it all feels. Fans will find things to enjoy here, and casual listeners looking for some easy summer tracks will probably like a few songs too. But for me, the biggest takeaway is regret. Regret that this could have been something so much more than we got.